I did a solo record back in 1980, and Fran Cosmo, the singer who's with Orion the Hunter now, worked with me on that album. And Orion the Hunter really developed out of that record. He and I started writing together, and we developed our own style of writing. I had a lot of confidence in what we were doing. And the Boston band was really inactive during that period, so it just seemed like a natural move to leave the band and go with this.
So you said that there is this third album that might appear at some point, right?
I imagine it'll be released eventually. There's a lot going on. There's a lawsuit going on now between the record label and the band, which is
so
really
we're talking politics, right?
There's a lot of politics going on. Yeah.
So is it one of those contractual agreements that this album has to come out, or?
Well, the label sued the band for not delivering products, so they certainly want the record.
Okay, so this third album in some form is going to come out with who knows what.
With who knows who on it and who knows when.
And the first time you'll see it will be in a record store, right?
First time I'll see it, yeah.
Well, one of the things I wanted to talk to you about is first of all, Orion the Hunter, which is really good, doesn't really sound like Boston. It sounds like just its own great band, and it has its own identity.
Well, I was trying to consciously get away from the Boston sound in a lot of ways. I know people are going to compare what I do to Boston. That would be inevitable if I did a jazz record. They'd somehow manage to compare it with Boston.
Right.
And the guitar sounds are similar, and a lot of the style about it, the harmony singing and melody and the music and so forth, is reminiscent of Boston. But what I was trying to do is get a lot of, keyboard synthesizers, drum machine. The color of the 80s in the record, even though it's a mainstream hard rock kind of record.
It really is, yeah.
It does have some of that color from the 80s and makes it more contemporary.
What makes sense to me, though, as a writer, if you have a certain thing within you, it's going to be expressed in a certain way. Mm-hmm. So that's why there would be a similarity, because you haven't changed your whole self and your whole person.
Oh, sure,
right.
Sure.
But you were conscious of not wanting to sound exactly like that.
Oh, sure, I was trying to get away from that. If I wanted to make it sound like a Boston record, I could have done that.
Very easily.
I mean, there's really no point to that. There already is a Boston.
That's right. Okay, so why don't we get to some music from this album? How about So You Ran? Do you want to set me up for that? We were talking about all of the guys in the band sing, too, and so I was saying that this album has a lot of vocals, a lot of emphasis on harmony, too, and this first song, So You Ran, that is kind of the single off the album, I guess?
Yes, this was the first single. It actually opens up with Bruce Smith, Fran Cosmo, the singer, and I singing the harmony part together. Most of the harmonies on the album were done that way, not overdubbed.
Not overdubbed live. And you're going to do that tonight in perfect harmony, right?
In perfect harmony.
So You Ran on the rock and roll leader, 95X. 95X, Barry, you did a good job on that song.
Thank you.
I like that tune. I know you've been waiting for me to say that. You've traveled all the way here, so I could tell you how great that song is. I'm Lorraine Rapp. I'm in for Ed Levine this afternoon, and sitting with me is Barry Goudreau, who is in the band Orion the Hunter, formerly of Boston, and we're going to talk to him in just a minute. And we're back. I'm Lorraine Rapp once again, in for Ed Levine once again, and with me still is Barry Goudreau. We're talking about Orion the Hunter, and I was asking Barry about a video that I had heard he just recently shot for the song So You Ran, and I'm always interested to find out exactly how this works. Now, you were telling me that while you were writing the song, you kept the, when you're writing the lyrics, you kept the video or visually how it would come out in mind. Now, when Boston was around, we were talking about video wasn't as big and as important as it is these days. So tell me how, first of all, did you have a director, and how much say did you have in what the video was going to look like and stuff like that?
Well, the director wrote up the script and was mostly responsible. When I first met him, I gave him a few suggestions of how I wanted it to look and come across and so forth. But I more or less left it up to him because I had never done a video before. I'm not about to tell him how to do it.
Now, let me ask you this. Do you have the choice in who you pick for the director?
Yeah.
Okay. Did they know anything about rock and roll?
Yeah, actually, Ole Sasson was the fellow that directed ours, and he had done several before, and actually was a guitar player and a music fan, so there was no problem there.
Right, that probably helps out. And then,
except when he kept trying to grab my guitar to play. I didn't like that at all.
Right, he wanted to jump in. Yeah. And I haven't seen this video myself. Why don't you tell me, you saying that it follows the storyline, where did you film it?
It was done around Boston. The interior scenes were done in a studio in Boston, and the exterior scenes were done in Lynn, Mass, which is my hometown, on the beach and in a little cafe by the beach.
And you also told me that you have women in fishnet stockings, motorcycles,
yes,
high heels.
and red spike shoes,
right.
and motorcycles, and all that stuff.
Why is that? Why do all the bands have those women in there? Can you tell me that?
Well, it's hooks like songwriting hooks. It's things that people can cue in on, and that's popular things to cue in on.
I guess that's true. I was also asking you, the album has a very commercial sound, and so did Boston as well. Now, is that something that you do intentionally, or that just comes naturally to you?
That's the kind of music that I like to play. I grew up learning how to play lead guitar along with blues albums, and I've played other styles of music, but a commercial kind of music is what I like to do.
You know, a lot of people wish they had that ability. I mean, that's what some people strive for. But this album just sounds great. We're going to listen to another tune. Now, if you want to talk to Barry, you can call us right here in the studio. It's 421-9595. Orion the Hunter will be opening up. Let me just ask you about your guitars, since you're mentioning that, because I had written in my notes that you own 20 rare and vintage guitars, right?
Yeah, I have a guitar collection.
And what is the purpose of collecting them? Just to get all the different sounds?
It's fun.
It's fun. We all enjoy it.
When I was on tour with Boston, you had some spare time. You like to poke around in stores and so forth, and come across something interesting, you pick up on it.
And you used about, 12 of these guitars? They all
I
have
used quite a few on the album. I only use 3 or 4 on tour.
What are your favorite guitars for all the young guitar players that are listening?
I use mostly Gibson SGs, although in the show tonight I've got what I'll call a generic guitar. It's made out of pieces that you buy. You buy a neck, you buy a body and pickup, and you put the guitar together, so it's not actually any name
Is that like
brand.
a custom-made guitar, we
Yeah,
could say?
yeah.
Okay. We're going to take calls here in the studio, 421-9595. I'm sitting with Barry Goudreau. We're going to listen to another tune off the Orion the Hunter album. It's called All Those Years on the Rock and Roll Leader, 95X.
WAQX Manlius is 95X, the Rock and Roll Leader.
And we're back. We just heard All Those Years off the Orion the Hunter album. Barry, I'm really glad that you stopped by.
Yeah, it's been great.
Okay, you were pretty easy, I think. We won't tell people what's been going on in here. Well, all right, this is your last time to tell everybody how exciting the show is going to be tonight. Go ahead.
Well, we're going to go out there and kick ass.
That's all right. So you show up tonight. Tickets will be available at the gate. Gates opening at 6:30, and I think your band, Orion the Hunter, will be starting at about 8 p.m. tonight. So we'll see out there the 95X Summer Series at Weedsport with Orion the Hunter and Aerosmith. We're going to leave things off here from another tune off this album. This is the first cut on side 2 called Stand Up. Thanks again, Barry.
My pleasure.
On 95X.